music has this history of managing copyrights properly, and it also has two avenues of copyright. It has the publishing IP side and it has the sound recording side. In a way, and I said it to many people already in the past, it's the actual same infrastructure AI would need to manage copyrights, right? Because it trains on data and then creates new derivatives. It's exactly like a composer can compose a piece of music and then various people can record it, right? It's the exact same scenario where you have IP and you have derivative works of that IP. So that's one thing which I think is very interesting, and music could actually lead the way in that side of the AI revolution. And one other thing that you see, which is of course very interesting, is the fact that music has copyright infrastructure in place also changes the way AI generative music could be adapted compared to other art forms. So if you look at visuals, it's basically, the barrier has broke. I mean, AI trained on probably all visuals in the world, both video and stills, and today you can generate mind-blowing Hollywood grade videos and nobody gets paid for that, right? Nobody created the first original works that were trained or that AI was trained on, and that's lost forever because nobody's going to go back and try to understand. With music, we see something interesting. We see a company like Suno that trained on music illegally and people use it, but it's completely blocked from commercial use, right? So they're being sued by the majors. They have millions of users. A lot of people are using it, but you can't distribute that music. You can't commercially use it. Brands would never use it because it's as scary as using fire, right? Like they can get sued eventually. So you see how music creates, or music copyrights creates, a barrier that never happened so far with generative AI. So that's one thing that I think is very interesting. And then what actually happened very few weeks ago, I'm not sure when the podcast would be aired, but this was mid-August. 11 Labs announced a deal with Cobalt and with Merlin. So Cobalt is the fourth biggest publisher in the world, and Merlin is like the fourth biggest record label in the world because they're like an authority that combines a lot of independent record labels. Now, a very interesting point to note, in my opinion. So the headline was that 11 Labs, which is a generative audio company, struck a deal with these two big independent music companies to legally license AI, music for AI training. The fact of the matter behind the announcement is that both Cobalt and Merlin had to, and still are trying to, opt in all the actual copyright owners who are musicians, artists, composers, writers, and they all have to opt in on both the publishing and recorded side of a song. So let's say a song has three writers and one performer and one master owner. They all need to agree for that song to go into the training model. And for me, I have to say, and this is a bit outrageous if you ask me, because the real headline wasn't supposed to be there's legal AI generative music. It was supposed to be, would artists opt in to let AI train on their models? And I can say I hear a lot of backlash on the background and a lot of artists that are not opting in. And the reason they are not opting in is not just because they're like scared of progress, because there is no proper attribution engine in place. And I can honestly tell you from firsthand that Cobalt is saying they won't have an attribution in place because this would be almost impossible to re-attribute. So they tried to figure out a revenue payout model, which I don't think many artists would be in favor of, which is basically just splitting the money equally. Half of it is going to be split equally between the amount of songs that were trained, and the second half is going to be paralleled with popularity data that they have on Cobalt, meaning the more popular songs would get paid out more. And in my opinion, there's going to have to be some sort of a next step. And again, with all the technology and all the improvements, this is definitely possible, to at least be able to scan the generated output and understand who should get paid for that specific generated piece of audio. Because the way it's built today, if somebody generates a jazz track, it would pay out more money to the pop creators because pop is more popular. So this makes absolutely no sense, right?